Welcome to John Wayne Lied to You, the podcast. Already featuring me, John Wayne. Hey, welcome to the new year, loving. Hey, and just so you know, all you newcomers, if you're listening to this on your podcast machine, starting today, this episode is also on video. That's right. John Wayne Lied to You is fully video now. Don't worry, the audio feed will still come out just like it always does. You'll still be able to get it, but I wanted to try something new for the new year. So I took some time off there. Sorry guys that this is the first episode in a while, but it's worth the wait. Trust me, at least for me. You don't want some sad sack just fucking. Anyway, so if you want to check this out on video, you can go to the YouTube channel, John Wayne Lied to You. All one word, no spaces, John Wayne Lied to You, the YouTube channel. I will be blasting that link out as this comes out here in the next day. And give it a follow. All the things that I do for the podcast will be on there. Also, new email address. So, guys, a lot of you have been with me for a while where, we had, when I was on, Vital Social Issues and stuff, we had the Corey hotline and we had many callers and it was awesome, but then it got taken away for some reason. And then I resurrected the Corey hotline to John Wayne Lied to You, and nobody called. Like, some people did call, and I do appreciate that. Thank you. So we're not doing that this time, but we are going to have an email that is open to all you wonderful, wonderful listeners out there. It is simply just johnwayneliedtoyou@gmail.com. All one word, johnwayneliedtoyou@gmail.com. Send me a message. Hey, you want to ask me a question? If you have a comment, if you just want to say, hey, please do. Also, if I have a question, I may just ask you, the audience, and say, hey, somebody email me what the fuck the answer to this is. So, anyway, please check out the video, guys. Give it a share. Let everybody know. And I hope that you enjoy it. Of course, this is a work in progress. This is the first one. I think I got it cool. But, there's always going to be room for improvement. There's always going to be things that I'm going to be like, yeah, that can be better, different, whatever. So, that out of the way, welcome everybody to the new year, the new version of the show. I hope everyone is well. I appreciate you guys for joining me again. Sticking around with me, especially, like I said, I took some time off, much needed, so that I could come back and do not only everything else I do, but, to do the podcast right. And I'll talk about that. But thank you for joining me. If this is one of your first episodes or your first episode, or you met me at a convention or a show, thank you for checking out the podcast. We very much appreciate it. So, without further ado, guys, some traditions must always stand, and that one is we got ourselves some Grandpappy's medicine. Good old green bowl of Grandpappy's medicine. That's right. Just get a nice little taste of this. Ooh, delicious. So, as you guys know, or not, here I am in the Neon Palace of Sin in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada, and my neighborhood dispensary is called Oasis. See, no cough breaks. We don't cut away for shit, guys. We do it. We do it for real here. So, of course, I stopped by Oasis the other day just before New Year's Eve, and I picked up some fresh supplies here. So what we are smoking on today, friends, this is from White Cloud Botanicals, and this is a nice Nevada-grown indica. It's called White Cloud. No, I'm sorry, this is LA Kush. LA Kush. And we are sitting at... That's right, you got to do that. And we're sitting at a good 26% on that. So, boom. See, like I said, this is a work in progress. We're learning. Okay, so it's delicious. I've been smoking it the last couple days, and it's very tasty. And, of course, I had a great time to just popping in, seeing my friends at Oasis. It was actually on New Year's Eve. That's what it was, because we talked about what we were going to do, and that's going to be later in the show. Now, a lot of different things that are happening here, different segments. Like I said, new things are happening. So, they may be not as fine-tuned as they eventually will be, but it's going to be fun. Also, hey, I'm not drinking coffee right now during the show. Now, I I'm cutting back on coffee a little bit. And I'll tell you why. I still drink coffee. I'm not trying to quit coffee. Don't worry. But I did realize I was just drinking a pot of coffee every day. And plus, maybe another cup if I'm out running around. And that's probably not the best for me. Not that I do things way worse. But anyway, I want to cut back on the coffee. So no coffee today. But I do have a little special brew whipped up here in my mug of death. If you could check this out, if you're not on the video, you're missing this. Is an excellent mug that my brother from another mother, self-proclaimed Gator McAllister, gave to me. Thank you, Gator. Shouts out to you, my brother, my friend. I love you. Thank you for the mug. Drinking out of it here on the show. And that's another element of the video. Hey, if you guys want to advertise your business on a coffee mug, or hey, you just want to send me a mug or some weed, that's great. And I can show it on the pod. Look at that. This is a nice little secret formula. So we'll get another sip of that. Thank you for that, Gator. So, as I said, we are set. I also want to give shouts out to what I'm wearing today. This is a shirt from Paul Bearer Press. These guys, and I tell them constantly, make some of my all-time favorite shirts. Like not just the way they look, but the way they fit and the way they feel. You guys know I blast the sleeves off everything. But I have several Paul Bearer Press shirts. I know these guys. They are in the Austin, San Marcos area out of Texas boys. And I've known them for years doing these cons, and we've gotten closer and become friends. So shouts out to Craig and Christian and all the Paul Bearer Press gang. Hey, check them out, paulbearerpressonline.com, all that shit. Or if you see them at a con, hey, buy a shirt. They're awesome. I love them. These are my favorite shirts. See, this is another cool element of video. I get to actually show what I'm wearing and not just talk about like, hey, these are my friends. Like, no, but that's cool. But now you can see it. And that is, that's what it's all about. So anyway, moving right along, guys, Patreon. Hey, it's gonna be so remarkably good in this new year. I would love for you to check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com/johnwayneliedtoyou, or just go to johnwayneliedtoyou.com, the Patreon link, and check out the tiers. I have new things available, the different tiers. There are a lot of videos that are coming to my Patreon in this year and in the coming weeks. It's going to be a very stepped up production schedule as far as that goes. Plus, on my Patreon, I put all the videos of performances, readings that I do around the country. Also, John Wayne is Dead rehearsals. Or if I'm working on a new song, I will just pop up video and just kind of show my Patreon people, hey, this is me working on a song. This is how it kind of goes, blah, blah, blah. It's fun. If you're into that kind of stuff, then you're going to love my Patreon channel. Plus, back in a big bad way, starting today, the Awesome Dude for Life Boner Bonus Podcast. That is the show in which I speak to other artists that I meet all around the country and around the globe even. And it's, as I say a lot all the time, it's my favorite show to do. I love sitting here talking to myself like this. Of course, I love myself. I love talking to you guys one-on-one like this. But I just love having conversations with other people in the arts. And that's what this is. It's a conversation. It has an interview format, but we mainly just like to talk, and we talk about the process, career, the paths people have taken, and these are not just writers, these are musicians, these are actors, stage and screen, these are models, these are dancers, these are visual artists. They are people from all walks of life, all kinds of different disciplines in the arts, and we have a great time talking. It's fun. We have a lot. We talk about cool ass shit. And if especially if you're an artist and maybe you're trying to like make your way, it might be worth listening to some of these other artists, see what they have to say. And you could do that at my Patreon, because no matter what tier you subscribe to, everything on the wall is available to you. So even if you're in the $1 beer club, which I appreciate very much, you get access to all that stuff. Except there's other things that are in the higher tiers of videos of me doing, certain private readings here, things like that. So those are in different tiers. You can check those out. But the podcast and several of the videos are just available to you there on my Patreon. And it's going to be a great year. So we're starting it off strong. So please, I thank you to all my Patreon supporters already out there. You guys keep me alive. You have no idea how much you have kept me alive in 2024. And I'm glad that 2024 is no more. And in 2025, John Wayne don't take no jive. So, so thank you to my Patreon guys with all my sincere thank you. I appreciate it very much. And if you're interested in supporting your old Uncle Johnny a little bit further, you can throw some change in the old bucket over there at patreon.com/John Wayne is dead. So, just check in, catch everyone up, like I said, I take a little break. I think the last show that was up before this one, last show of 2024 that got aired, was when I was talking about it was the last two shows before. I was having a really hard time. Just everything is just kind of coming down on me. Traveling was really wearing me out. I know you guys, I'm on the road warrior, and I still am, but I have to do it better. I just had a rough year. It was great in terms of production and being creative, putting things out and taking in, consuming awesome art. Things didn't come out on the schedule that I wanted to. I've talked about that in other shows about how everything kind of got. A couple of my books got delayed, and then the one book that came out on time, the other two delayed books came out within 2 days of that book. So then, that creates a lot of issues and a lot of promotion problems, and how do now you're not just asking someone, hey, here's my new book. You're saying hey, here's my 3 new books. That's tough. You get no time to promote things individually and give them the attention they deserve. So that is not going to happen this year. I can tell you that already. I'm very happy to be going into this year in this direction. I'm very fortunate. I have 3 books that are done, that are signed for, that will be coming out. First one starting in February. So you will be hearing a lot about that in the appropriate promotional ways. But, I was having a hard time. I was down. Guys, I talk about this a lot. I suffer from, depression. Sometimes it gets severe, and I am medicated. I do have therapists, and it all of those things help, right? They do, but they can just give you the tools. You have to do the work still, and just because you're on medication and seeing your therapist regularly and doing this doesn't mean that it just goes away. You're just cured now. It's unfortunately not the case, right? But I'm fortunate that I had that foundation to kind of fall back on and be able to regroup myself. I just was alone too much on the road. Probably wasn't taking care of myself as well as I should have. And, to be quite honest, it was just a slow year. I hit a dip in some sales and in certain cons where I was expecting to do whatever, it fell short or way short of the mark at times, where you get a couple of those back to back. It could be pretty demoralizing, especially when you're man, those didn't work out, and I still have 3 shows to do before I even get to go home. And then your brain just starts spinning. And if you can't, sometimes it's harder to pull yourself back from a spiral than people want to make it seem, right? It's different for everybody. But I was having a rough time. I talked about it. I wrote that essay about it. If you have not, if you haven't heard the essay, I played a reading of it on the last episode of 2024 that I was talking about. But basically, just talked about how, just briefly, I left Houston a few months ago. I was the last big trip I took, and I was everything sucks, and I'm going to quit everything. And I tried to delete social media. I tried to delete everything. I was going to sell all my stuff, and I had a 22-hour drive home straight by myself, and I had to fall back on those things, fall back on that foundation, talk myself off the ledge, so to speak. Get perspective again. And that ride was just the start of it. And then, the last 6 weeks or whatever, so after that, have been doing the work. It hasn't always been easy. And of course, like, it's always a rough season. It's holidays and people are whatever. And despite what's going on in my personal life, outside effects and things like that, I have been making strides and I feel a lot better. I feel like I'm in a better place to start this new year. I'm happy about the work I have coming out. I'm happy about the podcast again and doing it and talking to everybody again. Hopefully getting some emails. johnwayneliedtoyou@gmail.com. And it's good to be back, and thank you all for hanging in there and sticking with me. And I hope you're watching this video, wink, because it's great. Let me get a little drink of my drink here. So, all right. So, I was talking about Patreon before. I was talking about the Awesome Dude for Life Boner Bonus podcast, and all the new things that are coming. So I've got several things banked, and I've been holding on to them for this new year and new launch. And the first one is awesome. I love this guy. I love this author and artist. And boy, do we have a good time. I'm talking about this week on the Awesome Dude for Life Boner Bonus podcast over on Patreon. I talked to RJ Benetti, the one and only Jamie Benetti, as I call him, Benetti. He is an amazing author. He does the horror comedy, I would say, splatter comedy, splatter punk comedy. And I met Jamie, maybe like 2 years ago at the first author con, I want to say. And we hit it off right away. Jamie is not only an extremely talented writer, he's also a stand-up comic, very funny guy just to have a conversation with, and just a cool ass dude. He wears fucking clothes that are like 4 sizes too big for him, and shirts that like swallow him and stuff. What a unique style, unique guy. Great guy. So actually, a lot of you listeners know I narrated a book that this past year that he wrote with Edward Lee and Judith Sonnet called The Amityville Bukkake. I don't even think I really need to explain that, but it's that whatever you're thinking, that's what it is. And I narrated that, which is available on Audible and all that stuff right now. You can check that out. It's a lot of fun. I love Jamie. I love Ed Lee. I just recently met Judith Sonnet, actually IRL, for the first time at AuthorCon St. Louis, which is where Jamie and I recorded this episode. So we recorded this episode very, very late the Saturday night. I mean, I believe we were up until like 5:30 in the morning in my hotel room chatting, and for like I don't know, hour and a half or so of that, we recorded it as a podcast. So like I said, Jamie's very funny. His writing is funny, and we're gonna listen right now to a clip from that episode that we did there. So you check that out, get a little feel for Jamie, and hopefully you want to hear the rest of the episode and shoot on over to the patreon.com/JohnWayneIsDead, and you can subscribe and you can hear the rest of it. Now here's the thing: the podcasts on Patreon are also video. At least they have been for the last few months. A lot of the back episodes are just audio only, and there's like 140 episodes. You get access to all that stuff. But anyway. Unfortunately, this episode of myself and RJ Benetti does not have video because we were in the hotel room and because we were in a state of mind that I was like, I'm not setting up my phone to fucking just record us in here. Let's just do the fucking podcast. We were just ready to talk. So it's going to be audio only, and so when I cut away from it here in the video, it'll just be a picture, and you can listen to that, and then we'll be back to that full motion video. But going forward, it's also cool to have John Wayne Lied to You in video format, because then I can drop the video of the clips from Awesome Dude for Life Boner Bonus podcast in here for you to check out. But for now, audio only. Use your close those pretty little peepers. Use that big beautiful brain you have, and just imagine us in a hotel room in St. Louis, Missouri at 3:30 in the morning in questionable states of mind recording this episode. Check it out. Here's a little bit of my conversation with author and comedian RJ Benetti. Check it out. Those were difficult times.
speaking of difficult times, you're a writer as well, and I met you a couple of years ago. Fresh-faced young man on the scene,
young lad,
just full of hopes and piss and dreams
and chlamydia.
Well, that's right, because we went to the clinic together after.
Yes.
But no, you're an awesome fucking writer, and like you have recently been like you were like guest of honor at Scares at Care, and deservedly so. You're very awesome writer, and you're an awesome dude. I love hanging out with you.
I love hanging out with you, John Wayne.
You're a very funny like comedian. Like you're like, hey, I do stand up, and I'm like, oh, do you? Yeah, you're very fun. Like, I get it. So outside of this band that we've now started, where do you see yourself going without myself and Radar?
Without yourself and Radar, I think I'll be really lonely. I'll just be like on top. I hear Montana has mountains. You hear that?
You'll be on top of Fuck Mountain on Montana?
There'll be a mountain called Fuck Mountain, and I'll be on the very top.
Yeah.
And I won't have pants on or a shirt, and my cheeks will be clenched, and it'll be like a back shot, far away back shot, and I'll have a very flat ass, and the sun will be coming up.
Okay, so I think first of all, I'm into it. I think this might be a good photo shoot thing.
Oh, do you mean with like writing and stuff?
Yeah, it might be great for the insert for the album.
All right.
No, but where did your writing journey begin? To put it in the most stupidest terms ever.
Well, I wrote. This is a serious answer, right? I wrote. Since I was a kid, I was coming up with comic books, writing constantly, and then there was like creative writing in my 4th grade class, and I said this in this panel I did today, where
I didn't just spill beer all over myself.
He did. He just poured it on top of his head. But I said in this panel, I wrote this story in 4th grade. This is when South Park first came out. I was like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And I wrote this story where the principal, Mr. McClincy of my elementary school, was pushing all the students in front of the school bus so he wouldn't have to go to work. So like every day that everyone would try to go to...
Principal of your school?
Yeah, was
pushing kids. Oh, that's...
According to the short story I wrote.
Allegedly.
And I got in trouble for this in 4th grade. And the teacher of my class was named Mr. Dodd. And he would wear this hat that said the Dodd Squad. And he called me up.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. So you had a teacher named Mr. Dodd.
Right, yeah.
Who wore a hat? Because when I went to school, we weren't allowed to wear hats, let alone our teachers. And he's got a hat that says Dodd Squad. Now, is this an after-school extracurricular club you could join? Or why would you?
It was very strange. So, please. Mr. Dodd... picture like a 6-foot man with like a dark brown beard, very extremely serious. And then he said, you all are part of the Dodd Squad. When I put on this baseball cap and sit at my desk and the cap says the Dodd Squad, no one come up and talk to me for the next 25 minutes.
What?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So this is just like, hey, I'm going to be fucking drinking at my desk.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm on my fucking 3rd divorce and I'm going to be blowing my cigarette smoking. No one come up.
Yeah. This is in the 1990s. And so I guess.
Was he like a miserable man? Like
he looked, in retrospect, he seemed like a man that had a very deep depression.
Okay. All right.
And he would teach these kids. He was real cool. But he said when he put on this hat that said the Dodd Squad, please just don't talk to him for the next 20-25 minutes.
That's awesome.
So he sat at his desk. He was actually like would spur me on with these short stories that we were always writing. And then I wrote this one about the principal killing all the children. And he called me to his desk and he had the Dodd Squad hat on. Everyone was quiet in the room. So it was just like a quiet conversation in the side of the classroom.
But you got to break the protocol basically.
Yeah. And he said, he said, I usually love your stories, but this has like gone up. People have heard this
usually,
and this is very violent. I had to like talk to your parents and stuff.
I had to talk to your parents.
Yeah.
Is this pre 9/11?
This is in the 90s. So this is probably like 1995.
I call the 90s the regulars.
Yeah. This is 95 probably, I would guess.
So regular 5. And I love that he's like, I already called your parents.
But he's like, he took a liking to me.
But he wasn't like school shooter like this guy.
This is pre-Columbine.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. 95. We all know our history.
Yeah.
You gave the date, but like.
What was Columbine? 87?
99.
Yeah.
But like, it's irrelevant. No, but like, you're like, I love how he calls you up and he says, usually I like your stuff first. That's the thing. And then he's like, I already called your parents about this. So I would be like, fuck, what?
So what's interesting was like, this guy had taken a liking to me. And this is, you probably experienced this too.
How long did you guys date for a while? Or?
Oh yeah, we were heavy item.
Hot and heavy.
We were like Ben and J-Lo.
Benangelo.
Of like molesting. No.
Molestangelo.
No, yeah, but you probably, like, you're in entertainment, you write, you perform music and stuff. Even from a young age, what I wasn't upset that, I was upset that he stopped enjoying the stories. Because he was like into the stories. He would like constantly.
But do you think he did actually stop enjoying them, or it was something he had to?
I felt like he had to do.
Like, he's like, as your teacher in the school, like, I have to be like, hey, while this is very entertaining and well written, he can't even put it like that. He's like,
no,
you're bad, which I think sucks. Like, the things that I butted up against as a kid, like, I always read and wrote stupid stories as well, like, all the time. But in elementary, I think it was like a 3rd or 4th grade, we'd like have a book assigned. Like, these are like Ramona Quimby and her sisters, Super Fudge, like, and the teacher would be like, okay, so tonight your homework is to read chapter 1, and I'd go home and read the entire book.
Yeah.
And then I would just tell everybody about the book. And the teacher called my mom. Was like, you need to make sure John Wayne stops reading ahead, because he just talks about the book, and just like everybody is like, they're not, we're taking this chapter by chapter. And my mom was like, yeah, okay. And then she told me, she's like, don't just read the whole book, read as fast as you want. Just don't tell anybody anything about it and pretend that you're on the same schedule. And I was like, all right. It's like same kind of thing like that.
Yeah, like in the same kind of vein. It's really weird when, like, I think in just America, I don't know if it's every country, but American culture, if someone's really good with numbers, like, say, like, you're in elementary school.
I'm bad with numbers, dude.
Yeah, I'm horrible too. I had to actually like study for math class, but not the other stuff as much. But
I was remedial math in college. Like, you take the entrance exam in Texas, and so they're like, "Oh yeah, it's basically just a money grab." But then they're like, "Yeah, you're dumb. You have to take this remedial math class."
Yeah, but what I was saying was, like, in elementary school, if say a kid is like really good with numbers, their math is really strong, they're immediately thought of as this like super brilliant kid. If a kid really likes reading and like imagination, they're thought of as like, this is kind of a strange kid. And then like you come up against that. I think that's a problem with, it's probably every country, I would imagine, but I think that's
well, I agree. I think that's like a huge, like, well, because like, I think it's looked at as like, it's kind of like the age old thing. Like, well, you're not, what do you want to do? I want to be a writer. Yeah, but what are you going to actually do? Like, I'm going to paint. What are you really going to do, though? Like, so that's kind of like the age old argument that I think is just like the back and forth. But I think that comes from the people that are like, you can't do that, are fear motivated people who are also just kind of a little bit mad that you're doing that, and they're like, no, you can't, because I didn't, but you didn't. You had a chance to.
I think,
and it's I'm not saying it's easy, or it's like there's consequences to doing this, like to fucking going balls deep. It's not as glamorous all the time, but this is what you do. But I think that's just kind of where that comes. Did I?
No. That makes complete sense, and it's always, I think, been, if someone's really creative, say like they have a big imagination, they're thinking of stuff. It's really weird that like their reaction is this child, or even if you're a teenager, older, they'll box you and you're weird because you're not like doing this, say like same trajectory that 9 to 5. I'm gonna get married when I'm 24. They think you're weird and they'll box you into that. And then I think you've experienced this with getting older, being in bands and writing and stuff. You start to realize like when you get out there, that's the kind of stuff that can like set you apart, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And with like time comes perspective, comes, a broader scope on what you're doing, and like you can be like, oh, I realize I don't have to take myself so seriously, and like we played with this band. I played with this band at the Punk Rock Museum recently. They're not listening to this or whatever, but like they opened for I was just an acoustic set, and they opened for me, and I turned to Scarlett as they were playing. I was like, I remember when I used to take myself this seriously, and they were fine, but it's just like that. There's just something, and once you get over that, everything is just like natural. It becomes natural. And you do comedy, so like stand-up comedy, like that, you have to find your voice, and you have to do it in front of people. There's no like rehearsing it. You can stand in the mirror and talk if you want, but it's not really going to do you any good, right?
Yeah, well, I think it actually helped me a lot when I started putting out books, because I wrote for a long time, and then finally I was like, I'm going to self-publish something. Just see what happens. And it's called Hamster's Ball. And it's like really gross, over the top. It won me a gross out competition. It scares the care. And it's about a guy.
That's the one where I was like, yeah, I was on the. Oh God,
it was the very first one that I did. And I just read like part of the first chapter.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. What did you say before that?
I can't remember.
Yeah, me neither.
But I know, like, because I was just saying, like, that was the one that I was on the judge. I was a judge for it, because we went out in the hallway, and I was like, so what was up with Kozanuski just going to rant? Like, what was that? And everyone was like, I don't know, that was weird. And then everyone got quiet, and I was like, so Benetti won, right? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, all right, cool, let's just go back in.
That was the coolest thing, because when I first started doing stand-up, it was probably like the first year. I had like a really good set at this like dive bar, really like narrow place in DC.
Yeah. And
this guy stood up and started clapping, and then the second person stood up, and then a third person stood up. It was like the Mighty Ducks, and then someone, like one of their girlfriends, looked at them for standing up, and they sat quickly down, and it was like weird hive mind. The other people sat down. I was like, I almost just had, I think, standing ovation for something. And then so fast forward 10 years, I did that gross out, and I read like this disgusting thing that I wrote, and people stood up and clapped for it, and I was like, that's the kind of thing, kind of like when people think you're strange for having an imagination. It just goes to show, once you get a little older, who knows what will happen. Even that is like a small scale, but
no, absolutely, dude, and absolutely, and it's even like that. It's validation, like, and that's like what we all seek, validation on some level, especially when you're starting or whatever. And then as you get going along, you realize like, okay, if you become secure in your craft, and you at least like can have the wherewithal to be like, okay, I know that I'm good at this, then that kind of goes away. But it's all in the beginning. You're just have that that trepidation, and you're like overcompensating sometimes.
There's definitely like
not you though.
Yeah,
like I'm saying like,
I know what you mean, but like, there's definitely like an angst. I mean, even when I've been writing for a long time. When I went to the first convention, like first met you, I think we were
right across, like kind of catty corner from each other.
We were across from each other. I was nervous to meet everyone, and in my mind, I think it's just like this in any like creative field. Like these guys have been here before. They're like big deals, and the more like I got to know people, like, oh, you guys are pretty similar.
Just like a regular dude. Like,
yeah.
The more you see behind the curtain, the more you do it. It gives you a lot of perspective, and you're also kind of like, I mean, sometimes a lot of shit gets shattered. Like,
all right, there you go. Hey, I told you. It was awesome. Like I said, that was a little bit of my conversation with author comedian RJ Benetti, my buddy Jamie, as I get to call him. Don't you dare call him that. You don't dare call him Jamie. You call him RJ or Mr. Rajay. That's how you refer to him. I love that guy. I love his work. Please check him out. His novel, The Slappening, is out. Plus, Amityville Bukkake. Plus, I'm happy to announce right now that I will be working with Mr. Benetti again here in the near future on a project together. So you will hear our names together again very, very soon. So please check him out. Also, if you want to hear the rest of this episode, it's very cool. It's a very fun, cool, dirty, dark episode. It is available in full on the Patreon, patreon.com/JohnWayneIsDead. Check it out. Okay, so like I said, we're having new segments, new things, new stuff, new deals. One of our new segments moving forward this year, I love to read, as I'm sure a lot of people who listen to this podcast do. I keep track of my reading every year, right? The last two years, like 23, 24, wasn't that thrilling. Like I did over 25 books, but for both years, but I didn't think that's very good at all. I think it's slacking. That was partially because I was traveling so much. It's hard sometimes to keep up with a book when you're just constantly on the road. No excuse though. But this past year, 2024, I read 41 books I closed out the year with. And I was like, you know what? I want to talk about some of these books because I've been stepping up my reading game and my pussy game. Not my pussy game. I'm stepping my pussy up. Okay? Reading up, pussy up. So I'm stepping everything up. And, so I decided to come up with this segment. Now, the origin of this, where the name of this comes from, is the comedian Bill Hicks, of course, one of my favorite all-time comedians, Houston boy as well. And rest in power to Bill Hicks. If you don't know him, he died in 1992 of cancer. And he was not only an awesome comedian, he was a modern-day philosopher, I would say. But anyway, he has this bit that is from on one of his albums, and he talks about he's on tour and he's in Tennessee, and he goes to a Waffle House, and he's sitting there in the morning, going to get breakfast, and he's reading a book, and the waitress comes up to him and says, "What you reading for?" And then he goes off on this hilarious thing. I'm not going to do his bit, but basically he says, like, what am I reading for? No one's ever asked me, what am I reading for? And then he goes on to say, I guess so I don't become a fucking waffle waitress. But you can listen to the whole bit. It's very funny. So that's what I decided to call this segment, What You Reading For?
What you reading for?
Okay, so what you reading for? I'm going to talk about what I am currently reading at this moment and how it is and what it's all about. That's it. This is just John Wayne talking about what he's reading right now and how I think about it, and maybe you guys will enjoy it. Maybe you won't. I really don't care. I do care. I'm sorry. I love you. So I just finished this book, but I already had planned to make it like part of this first episode. I've been reading a lot of this one author recently, or actually all of 2024. I read of the 41 books I read, 26 of them are by this author, and his name is Ray Garton, and he is basically he just writes like it's like horror, mystery, supernatural, pulp, crime books, right? It's I think they're very well written, but it's also they're fun. They're fun for me to read. They're easy to read. I would say, give him a try, just any of his books, just to get a taste for his reading. And if you're into that, then you're going to like all of his stuff, because he's a great storyteller, I think. And man, he's a man after my own heart. And this does not spoil anything, but I hope you're not looking for a happy ending from Mr. Ray Garton or Mr. John Wayne Comunale, because that is not, dude, I get to the end of some of these books and I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh my God. Wow. Like I could see certain kinds of people reading these books and reading the book of his, getting super into it, and then get to the end and he ends it like he does. And I could see people like that being so mad, just mad, like, because they're expecting like, oh, let's save the cat. Yeah. By the way, don't ever come up to my fucking booth and ask me if I know what save the cat means. Get the fuck right out of here. Also, if you're interested in making a film of one of my books, why don't we talk about that offline? What are you coming to my booth asking me if I know what save the cat is? Anyway, that's a story for another time. But yeah, so this guy's books are awesome, I think. But the one I just finished yesterday, as a matter of fact, is the one I'm going to talk about. And this is a book called Sex and Violence in Hollywood by Ray Garton. Now, this has been, out of all the books of his I've read, this has been my favorite thus far. I know it's the most recent one, but like I said, I read 26 of his fucking books. So this book, there's no supernatural element in this book. It's like a crime, basically, thriller type of thing, but man, it takes you on a ride. Like, just the premise of this is, so think like Hollywood, like teenagers that live in Hollywood with Hollywood parents. It's kind of like Bret Easton Ellis, if you will, right? So we follow this, our protagonist's name's Adam. His dad is a mega screenwriter, producer, kind of like I would compare him to like a Michael Bay type character, right? That's him. So Adam hates his dad because he thinks his dad killed his mom several years ago in a boating accident. But that's how we kind of land in the story. We also like he's having sex with his new mom, his dad's new wife, and then her 16-year-old daughter. This is very risque, because Adam is like 19 in this book, and she comes in. She has to like all of a sudden live with them, and then she's a psychopath and basically like rapes our hero by gunpoint. And he gets roped in this whole scheme. He's always joked around about killing his father, right? He hates his dad. He thinks he killed his mom. His dad's always been a dick to him. His dad's always trying to push him into things he doesn't want to do. And so he has this fantasy about like, he's going to kill his dad. But this daughter of his stepmom, her name is Rain, when she like comes in, starts raping him and all this crazy shit, she tells him like, I know you hate your dad. I hate your mom. I hate my mom. You're going to help me kill them. And he's like, no, I'm not, whatever. But she's going to blackmail him in. And then things just from there go like bananas. If you like a mystery crime story that basically turns it on its ear, like just when you get comfortable, you will love this book. Let me tell you this, like one of the main plot points, the thing that you think would be the end of the book, you're like, oh, they'll end the book with this. No, bro, that happens in the middle of the fucking, because I was reading, I was like looking, I was like, this is halfway through. What the fuck? There's still like 250 pages left. So it takes you on such a ride where, he just kills certain people out of nowhere that you think are going to be like main characters. It's there's a whole trial, this whole legal process it's not like he doesn't write like a procedural, like boring kind of way, but he is in a sense giving you the peek behind the curtain. At times, if you happen to be like defendant in a huge trial and you have like a la Johnny Cochran style lawyer representing you, in that you basically have everything at your disposal that this person can discredit or credit anyone based just upon how they speak to and about them. Fascinating. I loved this book. I debated on how much of the twists I wanted to talk about, but I think that's just how I want to leave it, because it is like it. For me, like I read a lot of books, I watch a lot of crazy, like not crazy shit, but whatever, but jaw dropping. Like I was like, you did what? Okay. I loved this book. Sex and Violence in Hollywood by Ray Garton, Garton. So just so you know, like I said, don't get too comfortable when you're reading this book. Don't get too attached to anybody. And as far as this, and also I would recommend anything by him. I haven't really. There was one book by him I stopped. I did not finish, but only because the subject matter was it was about a detective that was had this case about children being trafficked, and like it just that was the only one that was kind of like unsettling to me. That it wasn't because it was bad. I just didn't want to read about that anymore. But still, I recommend everything by him so far. But this week's What You Reading For is Ray Garton's Sex and Violence in Hollywood. Please check it out. And that is our first What You Reading For. Okay. Back to it. Oh, how about that little drink? Let's wet our whistles here, everybody. Let's get a little bit of this LA Kush cake or whatever the fuck this is. That's exactly what it is. Hey, I remembered. Get some of that in brain. Oh, yeah. So good. So, moving right along to our next segment. So, some of you may know this already. I've done some videos here at the end of 2024 that were promoting some new things, right? The first one I did, the John Wayne is Dead coloring book, which thank you all so much. Everyone that ordered one, those sold out twice so fast that I'm waiting for the next re-up to arrive so that I can put them back out there. So the John Wayne is Dead coloring book sold out very quickly, and to promote it, I did a little I liked to do commercial videos. I like to do commercials for things, book trailers, things like that. This is something that I've talked about before. My buddy Nick P, shouts out. He and I used to do all kinds of crazy videos back when I first met him when I was 17. Just silly stuff, and he always did that before then and always. So that's kind of where I got that from, right? And so I made some videos where you have myself, and then my mom is there to bring the coloring book to me, and there's some characters that are put in there, my two brothers and my mother and myself. And, the response was so positive and so, positive to these videos, especially, towards John Wayne's mom in the videos, that people asked for more. Like, we need more of John Wayne's mom. Where can we get her? Where do we find her? What do we do? So here's how you're going to get it. You're going to get it right now. Because I've given John Wayne's mom her own segment here on John Wayne Lied to You every week. That's right. Here, for the first time, is John Wayne's mom with Mom's Movie Corner. Oh, that's so lovely. Oh, thank you, John Wayne. Hi, everybody. This is John Wayne's mom. Thank you to everyone who wanted to see more of me. I very much appreciate that because sometimes a mom is not always appreciated, but thank you so much. So, here's how this came about. Now, you may have seen my boys in the videos. John Wayne, of course, you know. Then my middle boy, Johnny. And then, of course, my youngest, J-Dog. Don't call him Jay. It's J-Dog. He's my special boy. Anyway, when the boys were all very young, they loved to watch their movies, love them. But, as a parent, you've got to, be a watchdog. You can never be too careful. You never know when someone's going to slip in some crazy thing to a movie or something like that. And you got to be diligent, especially as a mother. So I used to watch every movie that the boys wanted to watch. I'd watch it first. And then I would let them watch it if I deemed that it was appropriate. And let me tell you something. All of them were appropriate. And I loved them all. And my boys love creepy. They love the sci-fi. They love the weird. They're my boys. And I love my boys. But then something happened. I started to really like these movies. Like, I really liked them and enjoyed them, but there was no one to talk to about them because all the mothers do not like them at the circle where I sow my seeds of corn because I have a cornfield. But none of the other mothers wanted to talk. The boys, they would talk to me forever, for hours until they hit that age, and then you know what happens. Well, they don't want to talk to Mom about movies anymore. So I was so glad when John Wayne reached out and said, Mom, come on down and do your movie corner. So here I am. Thank you. Anyway, welcome to the inaugural segment, the first one of Mom's Movie Corner. I am pleased. So anyway, here's our first movie that I'm going to talk about. It's the 1996 Stuart Gordon directed Space Truckers. Oh my, this stars Dennis Hopper, a young and plucky, sexy Stephen Dorff, Debbie Mazar, and guest starring from Cheers fame, George Wendt. Now, the boys know I have a soft spot for him. Love him, Norm. Anyway, Space Truckers is a movie that is set in the not-so-distant future where we have started driving basically 18-wheelers in space. And they deliver everything from sex robots to square pigs, which are genetically engineered on Mars. And they provide the best hot dogs. And so we find our lead, Dennis Hopper. He's the main man, of course. Very, very attractive man and very storied career. And he is the lone independent contractor. Everybody who drives a space truck works for the man, apparently. Not him, though. And he finds himself in a situation where he is having to transport some crazy cargo that no one will tell him what it is to Earth. And he's going to take Debbie Mazar's character there because she has to, because her mother is having a surgery. She promised she'd get to Earth. And Dennis Hopper is not going to take her unless she promises to marry him. Very devious. Very, very devious. But what's a girl to do? She agrees. She needs that trip to Earth. Stephen Dorff joins the gang, and they are off. Now, this movie is full of amazing practical effects. You know, I love a practical effect. People goof on it because you can see the wires a lot of times, and it's not perfect. But who is? That's what I say about my boys. They're not perfect, but they're all special. Just like this movie is special. Great aliens. Anyway, Dennis Hopper finds out that they are transporting these kill robots. They just kill with these beams, and they make you like they can make your whole half of your body disappear and turn to. Apparently, it looks like they turn it into some kind of festive, very colorful cotton candy with bubbles in it. It looks delicious, but. Those robots then are trying to escape the pod. They're trying to not get the pod. They get hijacked. Hilarity ensues. Dennis Hopper has to figure out not only how to love, but how to live. And by that, I mean survive, because they are under attack constantly. And it is harrowing. Either way, Space Truckers is an excellent sci-fi horror type movie. All practical effects, all Hopper, all Dorf, and in his underwear. And Devi Mazar's not too bad anyway. George Wendt does not get naked, but, little fun fact, this is the only Stuart Gordon movie that does not contain nudity. The only one. Go figure. If there had been a little nudity, I'd still let the boys watch it. They're just going to learn on the streets if they don't learn from me. What's a little nip here and there, for the boys. Anyway, Space Truckers, 1996. It's available for you to watch right now for free. You can watch it on Tubi. And I highly recommend it. From John Wayne's mom, we give this a high recommend. And that is not you get high and watch it. I know how you are. But Space Truckers... what a fucking ride. Oh, what a ride. Sorry, are we allowed to curse? Okay. Sorry. What a ride. What an adventure. It will delight you. It will entice you. It has a 17% score on Rotten Tomatoes, but I never trusted them. Trust me, John Wayne's mom. Space Truckers. Watch it. Thank you for joining me for Mom's Movie Corner. Okay, hey, thanks, Mom, for that. Mom's Movie Corner, there we go. Space Truckers. Hey, I remember when she screened that for us originally, and she liked it just as much as she apparently likes it now, which also, I like it too. It's a good movie. It's a lot of fun. Is it going to set the world on fire? No. Is it going to win any awards? No, it never did. But man, good movie. Anyway, so check out Mom's Movie Corner every week here on John Wayne Lied to You. If you have any movies you'd like to suggest that Mom watch, please email us at johnwayneliedtoyou@gmail.com, and we will put them on the list. Maybe she's seen them. Maybe she has seen so many dumb, stupid, crazy movies. I'm sure she'll never be at a loss, but she's always open to suggestions. She's very, very nice. So hit us up if you have a suggestion for Mom and a movie that she should watch. Now, one thing we're going to stick with, the tried and true, the time-tested, the bread and butter, if you will, as a little story that I want to tell you guys. Now, I know when this podcast started, it was John Wayne Lied to You, the storytelling podcast, and I had a story to tell, and I'd recap the conventions I went to, and we're not going to stop doing those things, but we're not going to, some of these episodes are just going to be some segments and laughs and fun. Maybe there won't always be a specific story, but we will tell you what's going on. And just so happens to start off this new year, do I have a story that just happened? Well, why is it every time I go to Area 15 here in Las Vegas, I seem to get in some kind of trouble? Long-time listeners will know, maybe like 2.5 years ago or so, shortly after I moved here, Scarlett and I went to go see it was a bondage fashion show, a goth fashion show, bondage, whatever it was. And we had stopped a couple places beforehand. Long story short, we got to I'm sorry. Let me explain what Area 15 is. Area 15 here in Las Vegas is this huge like complex, right? Like a compound of entertainment. There's an outdoor stage, outdoor bars. There's several indoor stages, like 6 maybe. Then inside is like this big warehouse that's like all on acid. It's all art everywhere. It's trippy. There's bars that are cool. There's restaurants that are cool. If you're familiar with Omega Mart, that is there. That is a humongous art installation of a very I don't know, crazy psychedelic grocery store you can walk through. And honestly, it can take you 5 hours to get through this installment. So like I said, they have DJs, they have bands, they have shit, they have restaurants. There's a huge arcade upstairs. It's this huge entertainment complex, I guess. So anyway, that's Area 15. So back to that story when we were going to that fashion show. Scarlett and I get there. We have to pee so bad. We get in before we go into where the show is, which we have 2 friends performing in. There's a very long line for both bathrooms, men and women, and Scarlett turns and goes to the family restroom. She's like, come in here with me. I was like, yeah, you got it. So we go into the family bathroom together and piss. We're both peeing. Maybe I was peeing in the sink. Either way, that's all that was going on. No hanky-panky, no drugs, no nothing. It was just, we have to piss so we can get to this show and check it out. And then as we're in there, there's somebody starts banging on the door like the cops, boom, 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 boom. Come on. And we're like, God damn it. We're fucking give us a second. Jesus Christ. We're getting all pissed. And then I rip the door open and it's 2 security guards. And they're like, come with us. I'm like, what? You can't both be in here at the same time. And I'm like, why? So you can't. I'm like, well, we're a family. And they're like, you're being ejected right now. So follow us. You're being kicked out. I'm like, the fuck, we just got here. So basically we got kicked out, went to the car. I was still so mad that I walked back up to the door, demanded that they let me in, which they didn't, but they brought a friendly boss out to tell me also that I couldn't come back, and that if I didn't leave, then he was gonna 86 me for good. So anyway, we left. Smash cut to New Year's Eve 2024, just the other day. If you've listened to the Awesome Dude podcast, I've had Ava on, that is Scarlett's sister, who works for Area 15. Now, Ava's in the music industry. She's tour managed for many high-end acts. She's done festivals. She buys talent for Area 15. All these things I don't really understand about the business, but she's very good at it and very adept, and that's what she does. So because of that, we sometimes get to reap the rewards. And so we were able to get VIP tickets to Area 15's New Year's Eve, whatever, because that's all I could say it was, right? It's just a party, 1,000 DJs, one in every fucking room, one on the ceiling, one up your ass. Who fucking knows? I don't have any problem with electric dance music, EDM. I just don't it doesn't necessarily razzle my berries or whatever. But that's what's going on. There's bars, there's vendors, there's crazy stuff. We get there, and there is a line that is so long. And longtime listeners know, you've heard me talk about the lines at certain conventions that start ass early, and they're already blocks long by the time I get there, and there's still 2 hours before the doors are going to open, and I say man, I wish I cared about something so much that I would wait in line for 5 hours or something, 4 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. Nothing. I like nothing that much. I don't give a flying fuck. I love weed. If you got the all day weed giveaway and I got to wait in more than a 2-minute line, bro, I guess I'm going to miss that one. You know what I mean? So we get there, of course, it's New Year's Eve. It's Area 15. It's going to be crazy. And the lines, like I said, this line is so long that I'm looking and I'm like, I don't even think that most of these people are even going to get in before midnight, let alone get in at all, because that's literally how long the line was at 9:00. There's 3 hours till midnight, but I was like, these people aren't getting in. And I also turned to Scarlett and I was like, if we have to wait in that line, we might as well get back in the car, because I'm not gonna do that. But we didn't have to. We got, able to go to the front, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know, whatever, guys. Okay, but, when you get a sister-in-law that works in fucking entertainment, and then you could tell me all about your VIP stories, okay? So anyway, we get into the thing. And this also, like, this is not my scene, guys. Like, y'all know me, like, but it's a fun party. Scarlett and I dressed up. We looked awesome. We looked beautiful. We run into our buddy in line. He comes in with it's, we're walking around and it's fun. It's fine. It's not so packed yet that it's uncomfortable, because most of the people that are going to pack that place are in fucking line outside for another couple hours. So we're in there. Of course, everything, like, drinks are so overpriced, like, just out of control. Like, you could get 3 drinks and spend $100. Just an example. But anyway, whatever. This is Vegas, baby. So, like I said, there's a lot of bars in this compound, the Area 15 compound, and there's one that's like kind of in the middle, and it's got billowy, like, tapestries that come down from the ceiling that enshroud it, like, it's some, like, ethereal, like, whatever place. And we end up, like, going in there. First of all, we also met up with very good friend of ours, Stephanie. She runs Cult Creep. Please check her out. I'll wear her shirt here on the podcast as well soon. But amazing artist, good friend of ours that we've made recently. So she's there at Omega Mart, meets us with some friends, and we're in this, I forget what this bar is called, but the one with the tap or whatever. We're in there, and we're talking, we're standing, we're just chilling, just chatting. And I happen to notice we're against, like, the rope that's basically, like, dividing this section behind us that's still in the bar of tables, right? And by tables, I mean, like, the private tables, the tables that people, like, pay a bunch of money for bottle service, and this is their place, and it's roped off and all that, right? So we're standing next to that. Now, nobody is sitting at any of these tables. One of the tables in the middle obviously had somebody was sitting at it, because there's 2, maybe 3 bottles of alcohol on the table, a bunch of glasses, like, someone had been there. And I'm sitting there, I'm chatting, and I'm looking behind, and there's a bottle of Grey Goose vodka, and it is, like, the big one, like the big Grey Goose bottle, if you on video, like I'm showing you, and there was probably a drink's worth taken out of it, because the bottle is translucent. You could see where the thing was, and I was like, man, that's like a full bottle of Grey Goose just sitting there. And I file it away in the old John Wayne brain there, and a couple minutes later, I bring it up. I'm like, man, you guys see that bottle over there? I mean, like, what's the deal? Like, are they coming back or what? And so, I think Stephanie and Scarlett were both like, yeah, we saw that. We did see that. Yeah. But there's, like, a group of, like, 6 or 7 of us, and we're kind of standing there, and I was like, man, I might have to go take some of that bottle. And no one's disagreeing with me, but they're like, yeah, right? Like, what, leaving this bottle here? And I'm like, right? So probably, like, 20 seconds after I said that, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go get that. So I just I duck right under the little rope, walk up to the table. It also has a stack of, like, solo cups on it on the table. So I just pluck one off the top, grab the bottle of Grey Goose, and just fill that bitch to the top. I fill the whole solo cup to the top with Grey Goose, put the bottle down. I turn around, I dip underneath the rope, and as I come out, just as I'm coming up, several large fraternity-looking men are coming at me, and one of them snatches the cup from my hand and says, no, bro, that's ours. You're not taking that. And I was like, oh, shit. They got me. They're coming. They just came back. So they take that, and I was like, oh, fuck, okay, shit, sorry. Like, I was like, I was like, sorry, you got me. And they all get back there, and everyone, like, I guess their whole party is kind of coming back, convening to their stupid table. And the guy that took the cup away from me, he stands there. He's standing there, like letting people in with the rope open. And I went over to him. I was like, hey, man, you got me. I'm sorry. And he says to me, he's like, hey, man, you know what? All good. I would have done the same thing. And I was like, I understand. I'm not trying to disrespect y'all. Just whatever. And he's like, dude, don't worry about it. It's all good. And I was like, all right, cool. So we go back. I'm standing there. We're like down, a whole table down from them. And there's one of the other guys just could not take it. He is screaming to get me out of there. Get this fucker out of here. He's fucking stealing. He's fucking this and that. He can't be back here. And I was like, dude, I got VIP. I can be anywhere the fuck I want. And he's like, get out of our section. Get out of our section. Now, I did not have to get out of that section because I was not in his section. But as to not escalate this situation, I said, let's go. Let's walk. Let's go. So we leave that little area and we start walking away. And as we're walking away, like this guy's like been pointing at me. He's yelling at me. That's why I was like, let's just fucking go. I don't want to deal with this guy. I guess he's gotten somebody. So then somebody comes up and grabs me by the elbow behind, which that's not a good idea. From behind you, like, no. And like, I flipped around. I was like, what the fuck? And this guy's like, sorry, I didn't mean to grab you like that. And I was like, what? And he's like, one of the workers, a staff member. And he's like, hey, I just got to ask you, like, what's going on back there? I was like, I don't know. What are you talking about? He's like, did you like take their vodka? And I was like, yeah, I did. And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, the one guy, I apologize. He said it was fine. I said I was sorry. And he's like, okay. And I said, do you want me to leave? You're kicking me out? I'll fucking leave. I don't want to be here anyway. And he's like, no, I'm not kicking you out. No, I just want to make sure it's cool. I said, look, dude, I'm not trying to escalate the situation. I'm not trying to fuck with those guys. Are obviously pissed now. I'm not going over there. I'm staying away from them. I don't want it to make any trouble for anybody, and just be disrespectful or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's fine, dude. Whatever. You know what? It's fine. Everything's crazy tonight. Just have a good rest of the night. I was like, all right, cool. So we start walking around some more and like whatever. And then it becomes apparent to me that like these guys are just walking around and they're like, we should probably leave soon, or somebody's going to try something or say something to me that then there's going to definitely be a problem. So I'm watching these guys kind of try to converge and like whatever. And we're like, fuck this. Fuck you fucking douchebag posers. Now, I know that like, oh, technically, like I shouldn't have done that. But dude, come on. I mean, if not me, somebody else. Like that bottle, there's a full bottle like 3 feet away from me over a fucking rope. If not me, it would have been somebody else. So I'm glad it was me. I don't give a fuck that I got caught. I really don't give a shit, because this is the kind of chaos that you have to shake up sometimes. Like I get bored and I have to shake shit up. And sometimes that's how I shake it up, people. I steal vodka from these fucking tuxedo wearing frat boys. And it was good. So we ended up anyway. End of the tale. We end up leaving because we left at like 11:40. We didn't even stay for midnight. Scarlett and I, we get leave. We get we had burritos from Roberto's here at straight up midnight. They exploded the entire sky of Las Vegas, and we rang in the new year with a kiss in the Roberto's drive-through, and it was beautiful. And then the next day, find out that there were a couple of the inside scoop afterwards. There were a couple of straight up whole bottles that people stole off of those kind of the VVIP tables like that. Because I was also like, there's no one here to stop. There was no security. There was nobody there to be like, you can't come behind this rope. You can't come over to this area. There was nothing. Nobody's stopping you. So of course other people stole bottles when people walked away from the table. And there was a huge fight involving those guys, which the paramedics had to be called. So look at that. Call it women's intuition. But that, like I said, hey, sometimes shit happens. And that is my New Year's Eve story as we put all that violence behind us and move forward. It's going to be a great year. Guys, we did it. We did it. The first video episode of John Wayne Lied to You. The first episode of 2025. New segments. New everything. I had a great time with this. I hope that you listeners out there, everybody that listens, everyone that reads my stuff, enjoys this, and please spread the word that we are on the video now. We have the YouTube channel. It's just called John Wayne Lied to You, all one word, no spaces. You can always, again, email us, johnwayneliedtoyou@gmail.com. So, like I said, thank you guys all so much. You can get all that kind of information that I just said and anything else that you want about me at johnwayneisdead.com. Check it out. My shop is on there. Or it's restocked except for the coloring books, which are coming. Anything you order, I will sign. I will personalize it to you. I make extra art, stickers. I send you guys extra goodies, but I appreciate any and all support as my books are available everywhere that you get books from. Also, don't forget, John Wayne is Dead. The band, our new album is out there. It's streaming everywhere on Spotify. When you get our numbers up, please listen. And then you can order a cassette from johnwayneliedtoyou.com. The vinyl will be out in February. We have struck a deal, people. We've struck a deal. The vinyl is coming out. I'm very excited, but you can listen to it all right now. Help us out with that. Also, patreon.com/johnwayneisdead, or that also you can get right there from the John Wayne is Dead website. All that and more. Did I miss anything? No. What does that say? Oh, no, I didn't miss anything. Bet you didn't know I had notes right there. Oh, fuck. Now you do. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I hope that this finds you well and that we all have a remarkably excellent 2025. We all do not succumb to any resistance, and we stay strong for each other and kick all of the ass. So thank you all for listening or watching and or both. And I will see you next week. Ugh.